Sensational claim from ex-Mumbai Commissioner of Police Parambir Singh. Ex-Mumbai CP's statement, Access says, in fact claims pressure from Thackeray to reinstate Waze. Parambir says direct instructions from Aditya Thackeray and Chief Minister Udhav Thackeray to reinstate Sachin Waze. Parambir's damning allegations claim Thackeray's hand in reinstatement of Sachin Waze, the tainted cop who's under arrest, and now says that Waze's return was at the behest of the political leadership. Ex-Mumbai Commissioner of Police said he received instructions on Waze's posting from the CM and the HM. Yes, this is a big bombshell of sorts. Now here, of course, what is happening is that the accusation that was levelled against Parambir Singh for bringing back a tainted cop, he is now saying that was done under the instruction of the Chief Minister and the Home Minister. At that time was, of course, Anil Deshmukh. Parambir Singh says the Chief Minister instructed reinstatement of Sachin Waze, who was involved in the Antilla bomb scare case. My colleague Ketan Vaidya joining us with more input. So Ketan, for the sake of our viewers who may not know the entire backstory, give us the importance of a sensational claim of this nature, Ketan. What has Parambir Singh said and why is it significant?
Well, Parambir Singh has clearly cast aspersion on his political bosses. So he was asked specifically in question number 4, while ED is interrogating him about this case, where he was asked that please state your role in reinstatement of Sachin Waze. If Sachin Waze was such a tainted officer and he was suspended earlier from duty, then who forced you to reinstate? So he says that in this regard, I state that Sachin Waze was reinstated in the month of June 2020 after review meeting where all the case of suspensions are reviewed by a committee headed by CP Mumbai, some joint CPs and other senior officers, and in which he says that I would like to state that there was a direct pressure from Honorable Home Minister Anil Deshmukh and for his reinstatement. I also got direct orders from direct instructions from Aditya Thackeray and Chief Minister Udhav Thackeray. I got similar instruction for his posting to crime branch. It is a sensitive branch of Mumbai Police for appointing him. So, and he goes on in the reply. So this is really an explosive revelation from him. I tried to speak to Sena, the spokespersons, and Sena has completely distanced itself from this allegation. I spoke to the media head of Sena and he told me that he has specifically said that earlier Parambir Singh had told the Supreme Court that I don't trust the Mumbai police. So a person who doesn't trust his own force cannot be believed or taken seriously. That's the official version that is coming from Shiv Sena on these allegations.
Okay, so that is expected. The Shiv Sena is dismissing these allegations. Joining me also here on the broadcast is Mandar Fanse, who closely follows Maharashtra politics. Mandar, what do you make of a comment like this? Is Parambir Singh trying to wriggle out of this mess, now shifting the blame entirely to the political leadership and going to the extent of saying that he worked under directions of the CM when it came to reinstating Sachin Waze?
This is a very, very serious allegation, and in fact, this is being consistent if you consider what Parambir Singh is doing since the beginning of it, of this particular controversy. The kind of allegations he has made before on Mr. Anil Deshmukh, the then Home Minister. Right now, he has also included the names of Chief Minister Udhav Thackeray and Aditya Thackeray. So this is now getting even more intriguing and at the same time very, very serious state of affair, especially when it comes to Parambir Singh's allegations regarding the reinstatement of Sachin Waze, the controversial police officer. It seems that the reinstatement has been happened always at the instance of the Home Minister and the overall Home Secretariat. So the issue of reinstatement and the serious allegations about corruption, both are right now intertwined and intermixed. when it comes to these allegations. The link overall with the Sachin Waze's reinstatement is also very, very vital, because remember, Sachin Waze until now was also stating that in his statement and in his letters also before, that he is in close association with Mr. Parambir Singh. So Parambir Singh right now, in a way, strategically wants to alienate himself from what Sachin Waze has done so far.
Yes, absolutely. So this is going to be, of course, discussed extensively now. There would be a reaction perhaps coming from the Shiv Sena leadership. Mandar, what do we know so far? How has the Shiv Sena reacted to this?
As of now, Shiv Sena leadership has not reacted on this particular issue, but definitely they will have to come forth and tell what they need to tell, and especially when it comes to Shiv Sena, right now that the topmost leadership of Shiv Sena, Mr. Aditya Thackeray and Chief Minister Mr. Udhav Thackeray, is being named in this particular controversy. This has become a very, very serious thing, and BJP will not lose any opportunity now to corner Shiv Sena in particular as well, because until now, remember, only Anil Deshmukh's name was there, and he was also sidetracked after this particular controversy by NCP. Now that this situation has aroused, Shiv Sena will have to definitely come forth and comment on what they are basically strategizing on this particular controversy, since the topmost Shiv Sena leadership name is now
Yes, the
involved
top
in this
names
particular
of the Shiv Sena leadership has been dragged into this. Mandar, stay with us. I have Mr. Majid Memon, who's a senior counsel of the Supreme Court and also a member of the NCP, joining us now on the broadcast. Good afternoon, Mr. Memon. I want your reaction to what we just heard from Parambir Singh, the ex-commissioner of police, saying that Udhav Thackeray and Aditya Thackeray were issuing directions to reinstate Sachin Waze. Mr. Memon, can you hear me? We are not able to connect. We are not able to hear your audio, sir.
You now.
Okay, go ahead. Yes. Okay, I am not able to hear Mr. Majid Memon. Let me go across to Mr. Ram Kadam joining us with his reaction. Mr. Kadam, over to you. Tell us what you think, your first reaction on this sensational claim made by Parambir Singh, now trading his guns on Udhav Thackeray and Aditya Thackeray for this entire episode of reinstating tainted cop Sachin Waze.
Parambir Singh's statement is extremely shocking. And we have been saying from the day one that Mr. Sachin Waze is not all alone of the main key person of this Vasuli Gate scam. There are bosses who are running the government. We have been saying this from the day one. And now Parambir Singh's statement expose this ruling party, Honorable Chief Minister, and what kind of links he has with Waze. Now everyone knows about it. Mr. Waze was the spokesperson of Shiv Sena. The cop who was suspended for the serious case, serious allegations. After that suspension also, how Mr. Udhav Thackeray and his all political power he used for this such kind of a corrupt officer, Mr. Waze, and they have appointed him on a very exalted position. This is extremely deplorable. And now Mr. Udhav Thackeray should come forward and he should comment on this. When
okay.
Mr. Parambir Singh...
Okay, let Mr. Majid Memon respond to that. Mr. Memon, what do you have to say? Your party is part of the MVA government. Mr. Ram Kadam of the BJP says Udhav Thackeray should come out clean on this. Your response, sir.
BJP is just waiting for any opportunity to criticize the present government and the chief minister because they are out of power. They are losing absolutely no opportunity to straight away jump and say that this government is corrupt, or this government is dishonest, or this government is incompetent. That is only because they are outside power and they want to somehow get power. This is one part of it. Now, secondly, I must tell you, this particular police commissioner is a disgraced police commissioner against whom there have been very serious allegations. Now, if he changes his version, you see, one day, then again after some time makes another allegation, then again he says something. What would be the credibility of such a statement? Why was he silent all this while? See, if now today he is talking something against his subordinate officer, Sachin Waze, that he was brought on the pressure of somebody, etc., etc. Why did he not raise his eyebrow then? And then all this while, for such a long time, if Waze was indulging in something corrupt and something dishonest and something unofficial, illegal, why was he silent all that time? He was scared only, and he says that, well, I went on because I was subordinate to the Home Minister or to the Chief Minister. What credibility does he have? You know, it is. I can understand if somebody does some wrong for one particular day and you don't open your mouth. If this wrong was being committed for weeks and months, whether so long as you were at the helm of the powers, you were the head of the commissariat, and Waze was operating from under your nose, why did you not make a hue and cry then? Why did you not book him for a crime? Therefore, if you are trying to give sermons now and coming out with some kind of a defense by making allegations against the Chief Minister, nobody is going to believe that.
Mr. Majid Mevan, this is Mandar Panse. I want to ask you one question specifically, since you are a senior counsel as well. Do you think that this particular issue and this particular statement of Mr. Parambir Singh will now affect the overall investigation and the lines of the investigations?
Investigating officers are intelligent enough, they are competent enough to assess the statement of a discredited police commissioner who changes his version like a lizard, day in and day out. What would be the value of such a statement which has come after such a long time? You can fabricate a story and then and change your color as it suits you. So therefore, ED is competent enough, or the investigating agency, whichever it be. You know, if they are honest to the legal procedure, then they would know that what is the evidentiary value of such a statement coming from an accused himself.
Mr. Ram Kadam is with us. Mr. Ram Kadam, if you're there, I want to ask you one question in specific, that the reinstatement of Mr. Waze, which has happened, do you think that reinstatement process was also in a way rigged or in a way pressurized, as what he says, Mr. Parambir Singh says, but thereafter he was also working under him. So what's going wrong in that context, that Parambir Singh wants to alienate himself from Mr. Sachin Waze?
No. See, allow me to counter Mr. Majid Menon's statement. See, who has appointed Parambir Singh as a Mumbai Police Commissioner? This government, these three parties, they have appointed Mr. Parambir Singh as a Mumbai Police Commissioner. And when he was Mumbai Police Commissioner, all these three parties, he was a blue-eyed boy for them. He was a blue-eyed officer for them. And now he is criticizing the government. All of a sudden, they have changed their stand. It's a clear-cut double standard. It's a hypocrisy. Now, no one can deny that Mr. Waze was the spokesperson of Shiv Sena. He was a suspended officer. The way Chief Minister officer pressurized to the Home Ministry that they should again reinstate him the force, who can deny this? So these are the facts. Mr. Majid Memon cannot deny that. We should accept this fact. Point number two, when investigation agencies found out money counting machine in his car, he was roaming around with all the expensive high-end cars. Why? With whose blessings? Naturally, he has a very close associate with Chief Minister and Home Minister. Without their blessing, he cannot. And now Mr. Parambir Singh is telling the truth. And all of a sudden, this ruling party is trying to counter him. Let the investigation do their work.
Of Parliament, Priyanka Chaturvedi, who is with us right now. Good afternoon, Ms. Chaturvedi. You heard what Parambir Singh had to say. Now, the issue here is the BJP is clearly questioning the Thackerays and their involvement in getting Sachin Waze back, and whether Anil Deshmukh was just made a scapegoat, whether the directions came from the top to get him back into service? Okay, unfortunately, we lost the audio connection. Carry on, Mr. Kadam. Quickly finish your point. Sorry, I interrupted you there.
As I said, Mr. Parambir Singh has appointed as a Mumbai Police Commissioner by these all three parties.
Okay.
And when he was a Mumbai Police Commissioner, that time the Samna, that newspaper owned by the Chief Minister, that Samna also, every alternate day, they were praising Mr. Parambir Singh. Now, all of a sudden, they have been changing their stand. For what reason? Now, if you say anything, then he is not right.
No, what
And
Mr.
that time
Memon
when he
was
was
asking
blue
you
and
is that
officer,
why
that time he
didn't
was
he
right.
come up with this before? Why now? Why not earlier when he was naming Anil Deshmukh? Though at that period of time, the Thackerays never came up. Mr. Memon, your response?
No, I would tell my friend Mr. Kadam that neither Mr. Kadam nor myself would now value or evaluate the statement of Parambir Singh. I think it is the duty of the investigating team, whichever team is doing that lawful duty. It is
Yes.
for them. And now today, Mr. Kadam saying that he is speaking gospel truth. What kind of reliance be placed upon the version of a person who changes colors and who was quiet for such a long time? This is how, in law, the assessing authority would
Okay,
examine.
so you are clearly
Therefore,
questioning the evidentiary value of a statement like that, being the accused himself. I have Priyanka Chaturvedi on the line. Ms. Chaturvedi, good afternoon. If you heard the points made by Mr. Ram Kadam and Mr. Majid Memon, what are your thoughts today as you hear this explosive statement made by none other than the former police commissioner of Mumbai? He's no ordinary citizen. He is now taking the name of Udhav Thackeray and Aditya Thackeray as the ones who issued orders to reinstate Sachin Waze.
Firstly, I don't understand how can you all treat something from coming from an accused to save himself as explosive information. You should actually be talking about the authenticity of this claim, first. Second, a matter which is sub judice and is being heard in court, for me to make a comment on it would be unnecessary and would only add to unnecessary confusion. Last but not the least, if anyone has been a witness to how Maharashtra government has been running and how an agenda has been run against it by the central government and various agencies, should be ample proof enough as to in which direction this is going. The state government has their roles and responsibilities, and every minister and their responsibilities are addressed, and nobody is overlapping each other's responsibilities or undermining each other's responsibilities. And last but not the least, every single claim made by the former commissioner has been proved to be incorrect. He has even been pulled up by the Supreme Court of this country. So for you to call it explosive information and how I react, I can only say I can laugh at such accusations.
Yes, but questions will still remain. Why was Sachin Waze brought back, given the kind of track record he had? Was it a decision taken entirely, exclusively by the Home Ministry? That question remains. Thanks for joining us, Priyanka Chaturvedi, Mr. Majid Memon, Mr. Ram Kadam, and my colleagues, Mandar and Ketan.